Right, it's Kim here, and we're going to be going out on a little walk up on the downs on a lovely sunny day. It's a bit windy, so hopefully we can get some good recording, and we're going to go and look at Mugwort, otherwise known as Artemisia vulgaris. So I hope you're going to enjoy this little journey. I've got my lovely friend Andrew who's doing the filming today, so that's a real treat. So it's going to be really high-tech stuff. So we're going to now head off, and we are taking the dogs, so it could get a bit tricky. So never film with dogs.
And children.
But hey, we'll see what happens.
So this is herb of the month.
Herb of the month. So we're actually just coming to the end of July, so this is going to go out in August. So you will find this flowering. It's actually going to come into flower properly in August, and I'll be able to show you, I think, with the plants up on the top, the difference between when it's just before it's in flower to when it's fully in flower, because it's quite a tiny plant, and it's a plant of the crossroads and gateways. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. It's actually quite a bit away from everyone else. So again, we're seeing it growing along a hedge line near a gateway. So there's a long tradition of mugwort being protective on journeys, and I guess it's because people just saw it on their journey and associated it with going through thresholds and maybe getting help on their way.
So can you just kind of nibble it on the way?
You could nibble it on the way, and I think there's stories of people putting it like in their pocket as a protection, because the name the common name mugwort, from what I understand, is number one could be from the actual mug, that it was a plant that works, that was used before we had hops, when we made lots of beers from our herbs. So it was a herb used in ale making. So a drink that would be in your mug, or the other suggestion is that it comes from an old Saxon word, I think meaning like moth or maggot, so to deter insects. So you can use it as an insect repellent.
Yes.
And then its Latin name is Artemisia, so related to Artemis, the goddess. So that's going to give us a clue to some of its uses as well. So Artemis, the goddess of childbirth. So it's very much used in women's reproductive health as well. To go back to our mugwort, stay with our sort of English Saxon landscape. The bitters, are a really brilliant taste for our digestive system. And if you listen to my talks, I'm often going on about how important bitters are and how important our digestive system is to maintaining all our health. So it's a really great herb for that. So yeah, you can just nibble a bit, and I'm going to share with you viewers, when I was out walking with Andrew and my sister, they were going, what's it used for? And I said, taste it first, and then I'll tell you, because you'll make a relationship with the plant. So it tasted bitter. So you remembered it. So we used the leaves and the flowering tops, and you can use the roots. Not that I've ever used the roots. And in this poor plant that's blowing around in the wind, we can just see, it's a very small flower, but there's a bit where you can see sort of a yellowy bit coming. That's when it's fully in flower. So that's really the nicest time to use it. So if you're out walking and seeing this around your landscape, keep your eye out, because it's in the next few weeks it really comes fully into flower. But you can use it in this state. So just sort of going back to embed really our I think for me, embedding the knowledge of herbs often comes through the stories and historical stories. So it's said that it's also known as St. John's herb. It's a bit like St. John's wort, but this is another herb that's around the time of St. John the Baptist Saint Day, and it's said that he wore a protective girdle of it around him. Tying in with that old understanding that when you're journeying, and if you think in medieval eras, when people journeyed, they weren't necessarily fed. They had to kind of call on the
forage on the way,
or see if they had the right token to stop in the village to be offered food up, because there were very strict rules in Anglo-Saxon times about feeding. So I think you would probably feel a bit vulnerable scared when you're out walking at times in the landscape whether you're going to be given what you need. So it might be nature provides, or other human beings are going to step in. So there's other artemisias, so other so not mugworts, but other artemisias in the family. So you're what was the word you were going to mention to me? Van Gogh, that was it.
Oh yes.
So Artemisia absinthium is the bitter herb that was in Pernod, which Van Gogh drank and sent him basically mad. So there's that one. There's garden cultivars, like southernwood. People might have that in their gardens. So they all have that pungent bitter thing when you rub them. Great for putting like on dog and cat beds to repel fleas.
Okay.
I used to put this family of herbs in when I had chickens in my chicken coop to keep the little pesky mites away from the chickens. So you have to rotate the bedding. And I guess it probably was used as a strewing herb in the household on the beaten earth floors for the same reason, amongst with other things like the bed straws which are out at the moment. They would have been a mixture of herbs. So you could make it. You don't need much of it when you're using it because it is so bitter. So you can use it if you want to just try it, chew a bit. It will get your digestive juices going, and it will then, as we age, our digestive juices decrease. So it's always good to have a little bit of bitters in our diet
to stimulate
and so we can break down our food. So that's why traditionally, people used to have coffee after a meal. It's the same process to getting the liver and the other digestive juices working. So and I like it. Look, have you seen the sheep?
Yes.
They're checking us out, and my dogs. So that's a little introduction to the beautiful plant, mugwort. Oh, actually, one other thing. In current day usages, people do use it as like smudging sticks. So you can bundle it up and dry it, and then burn it and use it as, if you want to do all that.
Like a kind of incense.
Like kind of incense and this cleansing thing, which then would relate to that old story of St John the Baptist having a girdle of it. It's back into that protective, clearing away the evil energies. So, bye sheep.